G'day guys, welcome to another Hang Loose Recluse comparison video. Well, in fact, it's actually the only comparison video. It's the first ever Hang Loose Recluse comparison video. First ever. Welcome to the first ever edition, the Hang Loose Recluse comparison video. This is it, guys. Sit back, buckle up, and come along for the ride with Hang Loose Recluse Productions. Thank you. Check out this, guys, 1916 to 2023. Spot the difference, eh? Spot the difference. The only difference is, it's now information that's being fed to you through digital platforms instead of the newspaper. Humans must have been easily marketed from the beginning, because we all remember those times, the older generation. Think back to when those newspaper days. Everybody loved kicking back and reading the newspaper and, having a beer or having a coffee or having a cigarette. I remember those days. You know what I mean. So yes, 2023 and 1916. Yep, folks, it's exactly the opposite of the same thing. It's different, but it's exactly the same thing. Exactly. Different, but the same. Yeah. It's, the media is the virus. And 2023 in comparison to 1916. Check that out, folks. Look at it. It's just the same thing. And it's the media that's given you that very same thing. You've got to read what's given to you. And they don't like that you're able to use the internet to look for different research elsewhere other than what is the equivalent of what the people in 1916 are looking at. The story in itself, you can't talk about bigger issues on the world anymore, it seems, without getting a video pulled down. Because that's the way the world's headed. They don't realize it's their way of controlling everything about humans and what we do and the things we use. If they can control it, they will. But at the moment, this comparison video image certainly rings true. I mean, look at it. Look at the emotion that this image strikes in people. Look at life today, people. Look at where we are. Look at who we are as a society. And look at society in these images. And try to imagine that one of them is more than 100 years ago. It's blatantly obvious that in the current system of humanity, there is an obtained way to control the masses. Mainstream media. Put it in front of you. And that's why the mainstream media wants to fight independent people, guys. I'm just getting off track now. What do you think they hate the independent media guys so much? They really loathe anyone who has an opinion that hasn't been trained or educated through their university. And yeah, it's a club that they're in. The journalists that work for the mainstream, that's the industry that employs them. So they're a different species. They think we're a different species, which we are. But we are society. We are the people that see the reality. The organisation they represent is an establishment that authorises them to do and cover certain stories. They don't just wake up each day and say, what story will I cover today? What will I cover? No, it doesn't work like that. And you all know it. Don't be thinking we're all stooges, mainstream media. We know what you're up to. You're here to try and make it so that your reigning industry stays where it is and where it was and where it has always been, more than 100 years ago. Ironic. The society we live in has changed. This is the new world. Be warned, folks. This internet, this digital world will entrap you. You will become addicted to your mobile devices. For which you are. Otherwise you wouldn't be watching this garbage that I'm putting on YouTube. But you're here, listening to this far into this video, and suddenly the voiceover guy has got a different accent. What a clown. Yeah, you're all right. Okay, silly me. Okay, back to Hang Loose Recluse. Anyway, guys, what I'm going to do now is go for a quick scroll and do some garbage. All right, so what I'm going to do now is just do a scroll of some social media news headlines and pages, and we'll see what we get and what's available that I can talk out loud. Something that strikes as something to talk about. Yeah. Check out this screenshot. I've just come across a screenshot here, guys. Now, in other news, check this out. I don't even like reading out those headlines because it's all negative news. And this is from the mainstream media that is feeding the people in the bottom photo here. And then at the top there is the current same people that it feeds. And this is what shows up on our mobile phone devices. Now, this isn't my screenshot. This is from the social media page. And I just thought I would show that because this is ironic. These horrible headlines that we have to look at. It's, do we really need to know? I mean, look, it's as bad as things are happening, but do we really need to know about other people's misfortunes? Do we? If you didn't know about it, you wouldn't know about it. You know, okay, you know about it. It's a community thing people should know, whatever. But if you didn't know, would you really need to know? I don't think you need to know. And that's where I've been lately. I have not been paying attention to news or news headlines, and I see things like that. That strikes emotion, guys. It's horrible to see such horrible headlines. Anyway, that's the world today. You've been watching another Hang Loose Recluse production. Thank you. Now stick around. What's next? When you cut down a tree in Italy. Hey, that made me laugh. When you cut down a tree in Italy. It's a salami. All right, that's funny. So I don't even think salami comes from Italy, does it? I don't think it's is it? I could be wrong. Sorry if I am. I think it could be something else. But I don't know. What would I know? I don't chop trees down in Italy. I don't know what they look like. Statue of David returns to Italy after 3 years in America. That's funny. What's next? A new device for people who get offended quite easily. Looks like there's some toilet paper tissue earrings for people who need a quick wipe. Thank you. Anyway, and finally, up next in the news, we have a screenshot from a person called Laura Matsu, and she says, coming up next, influencers will be like, I just got a sneak preview of the new Neuralink by getting it installed in my brain, and it's making my life so much easier. You guys have to try this. Enter my coupon code transhumanism to get my 15% discount at checkout. Yeah, that's the way the world does seem to be heading. It's like a freaking horror movie, to be honest. It is. It's like a horror movie. That's what society's getting to, guys, is Neuralink. Elon Musk's chip in the brain. Yep, transhumanism. Anyway, what else have we got? And finally, here's a screenshot and it says, incredible scenes on the streets of Adelaide tonight after both sides of government agreed to pass legislation without consultation that would effectively ban protesting. Our rights to protest must always be protected, no matter how inconvenient or side of politics that may be. Well, so they're basically changing the fact that people may not be able to protest in Australia anymore. Now, that is ridiculous. That is the beginning of something, and that will lead into something else, and there will be banning and banning and banning and banning and banning. They all start with one someplace. Somewhere it's a chip, and they keep chipping away at it, taking away. Boom, boom, boom. Look at that screenshot. Incredible scenes on the streets of Adelaide tonight after both sides of government agreed to pass legislation without consultation that would effectively ban protesting. Our rights to protest must always be protected, no matter how inconvenient and or side of politics that may be. Freedom over fear. Hashtag Ozpol. Hashtag freedom over fear. Unbelievable. And what is next? And finally, this is the joke meme of the day. It's not really a joke meme, but it's a pretty cool idea. Some helium and blow-up dolls. Watch people lose their minds. Send them up. Send them up in the sky. Imagine you could get 1,000 of those organised. And the last part of the news, this is about the police officer that tasered the 95-year-old woman. It says here, I can take it, the knife off her, the female officer said as the pair were locked in a standoff with Mrs. Noland, 9 News reported. It is believed police will allege in court that at this point Constable White said, no, bugger it, before tasering the great-grandmother, causing her to fall back and fracture her skull. A senior counsel has told Daily Mail Australia that Mr. White's charges could be upgraded following the death of Mrs. Noland on Wednesday. It would more likely be manslaughter, the senior counsel explained, but it will be upgraded. It could be murder. Murder requires intent to inflict grievous bodily harm. The barrister said a murder charge might be sustained if it could be proven the officer showed reckless indifference to human life. Anyway, that's enough for Hang Loose Recluse. This has been another Hang Loose Recluse production. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you do, please hit the subscribe button. And while you're at it, don't forget to go over to Rumble and hit subscribe if you're that way inclined. Rumble is the next step from YouTube. One day we most likely won't be on YouTube, and we'll have to be existent somewhere else. So if you like these videos, please go to Rumble and hit subscribe if you can. Thank you. This has been another Hang Loose Recluse production. Thank you.